everyone, welcome to The Splash. I'm Shaun,
And this is Erbent.
and where you get your daily dose of entertainment news from the NBA. And for today's first topic, we're going to talk about the craziness that's happened in this season.
So
And it's
wild.
not even the season, it's the off season. And so our first look around is going to be with the Clippers. I feel like they did amazing this year of getting not just one All-Star, two All-Stars, with Kawhi Leonard coming in by himself, obviously. But the biggest surprise was freaking Paul George coming over from the Thunder. I mean, I feel sorry for Thunder fans right now, but man, that was insane.
Yeah, no one really expected that trade at all.
No, you're completely
But
right.
just in the beginning of the year, they already had enough cap space for two All-Stars, which I think is pretty cool.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
But Paul George, I did not expect two wing players playing duo. Imagine off the pick and roll with like Zubac, or even if they incorporate Montrezl Harrell in there. They got a lot of combinations with a lot of that going on in there.
Definitely. And I feel like Oklahoma City didn't come back out of this trade either bad because of the fact, look at what they get. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's
I'm sorry to give him away though. It sucks. He can be talent in the future, I feel.
He is going to be a major talent in the future. I believe that fully and wholeheartedly. Because if you just see what he did this year, not leading in the sense of how Lou Williams led, but he led in the sense of he was there every day, worked on his stuff, and didn't make very many mistakes, unlike how you usually think of a rookie. Also, they got rid of Danilo Gallinari. Sorry if I'm butchering that name for my Italian brethren.
Gallinari, man. Come on.
But he was an amazing forward for the Clippers this last season as well. He did one of his best seasons, and
the highest scoring starter, pretty much.
And every single time they looked for a bucket, they would usually go to him if Lou Williams wasn't on the court. It was very hard for him towards the end, especially in the playoffs, because of the fact that they were just zeroing in on him. But honestly, I wouldn't doubt that he would have another good season next year for them.
For them to be going to OKC, and now with Chris Paul, you can say is like Clippers 2.0.
Yeah, basically. And then they also got a 2022 pick, a 2024 pick, and a 2026 pick, as well as the first round pick for the Miami of the 21st and the 23rd, as well as rights to swap picks for the 2023rd season and 2025th season. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but because it is. Now, you got to realize these picks might mean nothing to people that are playing right now, but you got to think about the future of Oklahoma City. Not very many people are going to go flooding to Oklahoma City as a free agent.
Yeah.
So if you get people that are drafted there and you make them fall in love with the city, just like Russ did, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty intense. And so what I've heard of actually those picks is a lot of people think that the Clippers traded away like a leg and armor and a leg just to get all these players. But what little do people know is that they got those picks off of trading off Tobias Harris, letting go their All-Stars Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, and they still managed to still keep them, and use them as assets. Because I would think if they would have kept Tobias and other people who were there in the past in the Clippers, they wouldn't be able to do the trades that they did now.
No, definitely, because you got to think about it this way. Where else would you have been able to get two All-Star players? Because you got to think about it like
trade
this.
Away Chris Paul for like Montrez and Lou, and then those round picks. That's where those came in from, So it's pretty interesting.
Well, it's not even just that. I mean, if they didn't get Paul George, Kawhi wasn't going to come.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, so you did this not just for one, you did this for two All-Star players.
But one more emphasizing is like they didn't give up an arm and a leg for that. They kind of already had things built up for it to prepare themselves for the future. So
no, definitely. Cool. But yeah, if I was giving a grade to the Clippers, I would give them an A. I wouldn't give them an A+ just because of the fact that their bench did take a little bit of hit. Yes, they still have Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, but they have JaMychal Green. But the other two, I can't remember their names right now. Harkless and the other wing player for their bench. I haven't personally seen them that often. I hope they do great for them, but I wouldn't say that their bench is at the status it was before. Plus, they still need a big man to they still have one more roster spot for a big man, which I would really think they would need.
Yeah. I would give them an A. A solid, honestly, A-.
All right. And so now we're gonna go down to the Timberwolves. And so the Timberwolves got rid of Jake Layman, and uh, got the Portland right to Bojan Dublevic. I know I'm butchering that name. Now I don't know too much about this Portland player, but as far as I've seen so far, Minnesota has done very well with their young up and coming players. I mean, think about Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, he hasn't been to the exact spot that everybody thought he would be, because in the beginning of the season, beginning of his first season, they were already comparing him to Kobe, which I was like, that's a very hard person to try to keep up with. But I mean, he hasn't done bad. I mean, he's still leading that franchise along with Cat Williams. So if they got a young player, I believe they can do something with that.
Yep.
All right. And then our next is to look at the next Thunder deal that they did and giving up Jeremy Grant to the Nuggets. Now, the Nuggets were already strong as hell.
That just adds more depth.
That adds more depth, and and the fact that he's a long wing player. Holy shiz. That's going to be really hard for any team to stop. I mean, think about how their defense did in the regular season. They were already one of the top teams. So to have somebody like him come off the bench to just help, that's going to be majorly key.
They don't even need him for the points necessary. They need him to be like, stop other players, I feel.
No, yeah, definitely. And then in exchange, Oklahoma City got another pick for the 2020 draft. Now, if you started noticing a lot of the details in Thunder plays, it's a lot of picks that they're getting.
A lot of hope for their future, I see.
Their hope in the future is going to look amazing. But unfortunately, right now, it just does not look that well for them for this next upcoming season. I don't think they're going to keep Chris Paul. I honestly don't think that they're going to keep Gallinari for the whole season. I think they might even give him up for some picks.
Sad. I feel bad for Gallinari, though. Like, where is he going to go? I feel like he doesn't kind of fit necessarily in the NBA. He would be more like, a person coming off the bench now?
I mean, I still think he fits in the NBA. I mean, he's a four-man that could shoot, but it's just the fact that he's not as fast as most fours. His tempo, he likes to play at a slower pace. It'd probably be harder for him for that. And then now we go to Warriors and Hawks. And so the Hawks have actually been doing really good this offseason. They've gotten some really good draft picks from this upcoming draft, as well as you still have the picks that you get for next season from – not next season, from the 2026 season from the Warriors. And as well as you get Damon Jones, and the Warriors got Omar Spellman. I do not know Omar Spellman, but I do remember Damon Jones. Damon Jones was a very good defensive player for the Warriors. I think that he's going to be helping them a lot. I don't know if his offense is going to be that well, but I know defensively he's going to be good. Because Warriors took a big hit with losing a lot of Iguodala. I mean, Iguodala is one of your main defense. I mean, there's a reason why he won Finals MVP. And so for them to lose him, they needed somebody to be picking up the slack on defense.
Yeah, true. I would agree.
Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. The Warriors and Wolves trade with Shabazz Napier, Trevor Graham, and then the Warriors get the rights to
Eliua.
Now I know Shabazz Napier. He was doing great for the underleague, but I'm not too sure how his game is going to transition into the NBA. I think that he will be an okay player. I don't think he's going to be a great player, but it always depends on how much you work and how much you're training. I don't mind seeing how the Wolves come out next season because of the fact that they still have a lot of the young core, and it's going to be very interesting to see that.
I'm surprised that they still haven't given away Andrew Wiggins.
Really? Why do you say that?
I don't know. This is like, I guess you've seen a lot of memes about him. That he's like not really going in. No one really wants him. or
Well,
that I feel like a lot of people had high hopes for him. You know.
oh yeah, I do too. I think a lot of people did have high hopes for him. That's why I was saying, like, people thought he was going to be on the level of Kobe when he first came in the league, and that was from him getting traded from one to the other, from one to the other, from the Cavs over to Minnesota
Yeah.
when he first came into the league. I mean, that's kind of hard. I mean, think about Anthony Bennett. You remember him? He was a first round pick too, and now he was in the Agua Caliente Clippers. Like,
Wow.
it just depends. It's very hard to say where a person's gonna be.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we got through some of the other boring trades, if you want to consider them that, I'll go into
More like
another
role
big
players.
trade. Now we go to the Nets with Kevin Durant going to the Nets. Now, what I found interesting about this was the fact that they said he didn't want to go straight up for a trade by trade, which was very interesting to me, just because of the fact that, like, it must have been a big ego thing to be saying, "Oh, I'll be traded just for D'Angelo Russell." Like,
when isn't it always an ego thing with him? I think that's a bigger question.
Yeah, very true. But I just found it very awkward. I was just like, "Oh, okay." I mean, it is a good thing that he is kind of helping out his own team with the next year with the 2020 pick, but it's just, you would think that he would be happy even though you're going somewhere, and this just shows like maybe you're still not even going to be happy when you're there.
Yeah, I don't think the Brooklyn Nets definitely got a deal out of it, but I don't think it was the best outcome for them. I guess in a sense, because still Kevin Durant's gonna be out for a full year. Kyrie Irving, and then the chemistry when they can win, when he comes back.
True, but you got to remember too the fact that they wanted to play with each other is going to be a little bit different. Because I feel like the reason why Kevin went to Golden State wasn't because he was friends with them or anything like that. He went over there because he wanted to win, and that's why everybody was judging him on those facts. They're like, "Oh man, you're just going for just to win championships," which I understand those comments and stuff. But would you rather be the person that didn't win championship or did win a championship? It's a hard question to ask.
Yeah, no, I guess in a sense between and they definitely no doubt are a dynamic duo,
Yeah.
but Brooklyn, I'm not sure. I hope like their bench and that everyone else continues to do as well as they did last year. LeVert and everybody else.
I hope so too, because they were saying that the Clippers and the Nets
Joe
were basically
Harris.
the same kind of team. Both up and coming teams, scrappy, hard playing. I hope that the D'Angelo wasn't the reason that they were doing so good, and that's now why they'll do bad, which I don't think will happen. But it's crazy.
We just got to see how. I don't even think it's a matter of fact of seeing how they do this year, because not until next year is when the full team.
No, yeah, they'll be competitive this year just because of the East, how it is. It's a wide open. It's always been a wide open race in the East. I mean, it's mostly going to be either the Bucks, the Knicks. I mean, not the Knicks, the Nets, just because of the fact they have DeAndre and they have Kyrie is going to be a good deal right there. Then you have maybe the 76ers, but we got to still see how their team is going to gel without having Al Horford on that team, which we'll come up to later, as well as having no longer having Jimmy Butler, which he was a closer for your team.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to see where that might be. But hey, that's why the NBA offseason was this crazy. Now we'll go to what Golden State got. They got Shabazz Napier. They got D'Angelo Russell, obviously, which I think is a really good fit, especially since Klay Thompson is out. I think Golden State actually helped their bench a lot. They got Shabazz Napier, D'Angelo Russell, and Trevor Graham. Trevion Graham. I think they're going to be able to come off the bench for them very well, except for D'Angelo Russell. I think he's going to start in the beginning of the season. I don't know if they're going to do what most analysts have been saying is start all three of them, which I don't know how that would work. Just because...
Well, I mean, they made LeBron work as a point guard. You don't think that's going to be much of a difference?
Well, you got to think about it this way. You're going to have three people that need the ball in their hand. Clay doesn't need the ball in his hand unless he's shooting. Yeah, but he still needs the ball in his hand. Then you have Steph Curry, who, when he doesn't have the ball in his hand, is like a Klay Thompson, but most of the time he's the one running the game.
I just feel like in today's day of game of age, like you just you can't really. If it works, it works. You have the Denver Nuggets with the big man controlling the pick and roll, when it's usually the freaking guard.
Yeah, true.
So it's just you never know. You never know until you try it out, I guess.
That's very true. I would say I would give the Warriors, I would give them a B, just because when you lose a all-star player like that, no matter what you do,
but they're still like.
But they're still good because they replaced an all-star player with an all-star player, even though those are two completely different all-stars. I still feel like they did a really good job with what they did to recover from the losses, and they still have the Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry. They'll be fine. Nobody feels sad for them. I would give them a B. Brooklyn Nets, I would give them. I would say I would give them an A-. I think they did good with what they wanted to do. Plus the fact that they're trying to take back New York from the Knicks. You got to, it helps when you have a couple of superstars that put butts in seats. So I can't be mad at that. What about you? What do you think they get?
As for Brooklyn Nets, I would give them an A- or a B+. And I would get the Warriors like a solid B, because like I said, I still think they're a championship team.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's like a strong leg. That's kind of hard to just giving up one player is gonna make.
No, yeah. I mean, think about it. Without Kevin Durant, they were doing 72 games, right? But they also had a lot to do with their bench. Yeah, it's gonna be harder for them, but now it's just gonna be more equal. Now the Warriors are just like every other team. You feel me? Like you have some amazing players, and then you have your other players.
Because everyone in the beginning of the year, when they added Boogie Cousins, they're like, "Oh no, this is fucking Thanos came in here with his 5 rings to just destroy us all."
Yeah.
But it took one man to destroy all of it.
And that's why you watch the NBA season, because of the fact that the craziness that happens at the beginning of the season. Everybody thought it was a foregone conclusion that the Warriors are going to win. Not to think that at the end of the year, it would be Toronto winning. So if you're an NBA fan, this season was amazing for you. But this next upcoming season is about to go down with all the evenness and that's going on in the NBA right now.
Yep.
All right.
It's like an anime.
Definitely. Now, let's see. The next one will be the Golden State Warriors trade with Iguodala to the Grizzlies. And so, obviously, the Grizzlies got Andre Iguodala, and they got a protected first-round pick, which I think is good because Grizzlies need to rebuild, I think. And I also think they're not going to keep Andre Iguodala because of the rebuild. I think he's not going to be okay with just staying on a team that's not contending. I think he's going to want to go to a team that is wanting to go for championships. I heard that the Clippers, the Rockets, as well as the 76ers have been also looking into him. I don't know how much of a chance they have or what they'll do or how he'll fit. But, I mean, he's Andre Iguodala. He's still doing good this last season, and he doesn't have any injuries as of right now. So
and he's aging like fine wine.
Yeah, honestly, he is. I mean, with his conditioning and stuff, he's been doing great for the past few seasons. He was an all-star, and he's just continued to keep that same mentality and level.
Yeah, now I'm physically able to do the same, but still to create looks for others, to make the right decisions.
Even more so than what they
don't teach that.
Yeah, when they call him the savvy veteran, I think he's even more than that. I think he's just a good, solid basketball player that knows what he's doing. And let's see, for the Suns and Grizzly, pull-off swap. All right. Oh, yes, I remember this. Phoenix Suns get Kyle Korver, which they bought him out, as well as Javon Carter, which I have no idea who that is, but I wish nothing but the best for you, even though you're in a crap franchise called the Phoenix Suns.
Yep.
And then the Grizzlies get Josh Jackson. Whoa, that's very interesting.
And DeAnthony Melton.
Wow. Okay, so Josh Jackson is very interesting because I think he's a solid big man. I think that he can help Memphis. Memphis has been piling up the big men. Goodness gracious. As well as they get a 2020 pick for the second round and a 2020 first pick for the second round. Which,
They're
second
trying to
round
get
pick.
young player, young core.
Well, yeah, they're always going to get a young core, but I mean, look how you never can down those second round picks because there's a lot of players that come from the second round that end up being amazing. So you got to watch out for those Grizzlies. Let's see. Our next one will be. Oh, yeah, Chandler Parsons to the Hawks. The Grizzlies are clearing out house. I'm telling you. Man, Chandler Parsons' contract is trash. I don't even understand how they can even the Hawks can even get him or even afford to keep him. I wouldn't even want to pay that.
I guess they're looking to get a veteran player.
Yeah, probably get a savvy veteran off the bench, right? And
Solomon Hill
from getting the Memphis Grizzlies get Solomon Hill as well as
I think
Miles
he didn't. I think Solomon Hill came from the Pelicans originally.
I think so. Yeah, I do remember that. I haven't had too many bad things about his game. Not too many good things either. But he's an all right player.
Miles Plumlee as well.
Miles Plumlee, man, those three Plumlee brothers are staying in the league and sticking. Miles Plumlee, I think he's the second best Plumlee brother. I don't think he's that bad, but I also don't think that his offensive skills are that good. But his defensive, I mean, come on, it's very there. It's very up there with some of the best. I think he's good for Grizzlies just because of the fact that they'll be able to put another man out there. They've always been known as the big man crew. So maybe they're trying to do something with the grit and grind again. Not too sure. And especially in this NBA season now, I don't know how that will work with grit and grind. And then we'll get to the Lakers. Man, the Davis to Lakers in a 3-team trade was absolutely ridiculous.
Giving up everyone.
Giving up the whole kitchen sink and more. I mean, look at this. Lakers get Anthony Davis, which, first off, puts you in an extremely better position than you were before. Obviously. It's absolutely amazing. I will give credit where credit is due. Los Angeles Lakers pulled that off. But also, it wasn't like they had to fight for him. I mean, he did say for the last season he was trying to leave Pelicans to go to LA. It wasn't no secret. But, I mean, hey, to even still complete the deal is pretty good. I do feel like they lost a lot. You got rid of Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, fourth overall pick, and 2 future first-round picks.
Who ended up being DeAndre Hunter, the 4th overall pick.
And then you gave cash consideration to the Wizards. The cash consideration was from the Wizards to New Orleans. New Orleans came in and cashed out. They made sure that they were going to have a good team, especially now that they have Zion. This is going to be a young, good team for a while. They might not win a lot of games, but they're going to be scrappy as hell, and you're going to hate to play against them.
Yeah. And then you know how Zion is. He's like a very young player. So the people that he grew up watching playing is kind of like not people like Michael Jordan or like a little bit younger than Kobe Bryant after that era. It's crazy. It's crazy. So like I've seen a lot. Zion preach a lot about to Lonzo and his style of gameplay. So we'll see how that works out for them.
No, definitely. I think that Zion and Lonzo will do very good. Lonzo with his long court passes has been very good. So I think that if you have Zion running up and down the court and Lonzo just passing him lobs all day, it's going to be very hard to stop. And then the Washington Wizards get Isaac Brogdon, Jerome Jones, and Mo Wagner via the Lakers. And then as well, they get a 2022 second-round pick from the Lakers. So Washington Wizards kind of didn't make out that well.
Yeah.
I would honestly say that they were the losers in this three-way trade, but, they still have Bradley Beal and they have John Wall. It's going to be hard to see what they're doing next season. I don't even know what they're doing next season. You have John Wall that's hurt, Bradley Beal that might want to just leave and up and go. Come on. It's looking bad out there for the Wizards.
It's kind of hard now. It's like before it used to be like, oh, if you originate from that team, you're going to stay there. no one's really, even Kemba Walker, the last person you would expect to leave, who said personally, I'm forever staying in Charlotte. Look where he's at now.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's all about the end result. Nobody's gonna remember how committed you were for that one team. They're gonna remember the championships you won, and that's unfortunate because of all the committed people like Russ or like Damian Lillard. Like it's just unfortunate. I
Yeah.
feel. But if I was gonna give a grade for these trades, I would give Los Angeles Lakers. I'd give them
A C plus.
an A. They did really good. They made sure they got the man they wanted, and they filled up their roster afterwards. Luckily, but they filled it up. They had some few plans. I think that Danny Green one was very already meant for if Kawhi didn't sign. If Kawhi signed with the Clippers, the Lakers were already going to get Danny Green,
which is I think their best shooting guard.
Which I think was one of their best moves, was to make sure they locked him down. So got to give it to them for that one. So yeah, I would give the Lakers an A grade. I would give them a B plus grade. No, A minus grade, just because of the fact that if you really think about it, they still have a lot to question marks with how they're going to run their team, because it's a little bit of a mismatch. But when you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James on your team, it kind of covers up most of those spots.
Yeah.
What do you think the Lakers as a grade?
C plus.
You want to explain why C plus or
C plus?
All right, then I guess. All right, New Orleans. I would give the New Orleans Pelicans. Actually, I would give them a pretty high grade. I would give them an A, honestly, because they thought about what they're doing. Plus, David Griffin came in to help them. Mm-hmm. The GM. I think they thought about okay, if we do end up getting the first number one pick, then we should look for players that are younger so we can develop them all together. And if that was their plan, which I'm just kind of reading in between the lines of who they got and who they asked for, I think they did pretty good for themselves. So I would give them an A. Washington Wizards, at least in this trade, I would give them a fucking Z. I'd give them an F, dude. I don't know what their plan is.
For the Pelicans, I would give them a solid B.
Yeah?
A B. Okay. I don't think they got high caliber all-stars, but potential people who do good in their role, and maybe even as a starter they may not be the greatest, but they expect them to maybe pull out 30 points a night every now and then.
No, yeah, for sure. And then Washington Wizards, what do you think?
Wizards, well, I guess they're just trying to, I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. I don't know much about the East per se, but I don't really look at the Wizards as much, but it's something that I should take more look at it. Because for them to just get random ass players, just maybe they can use them as trade assets in the future. You just never know. It's I just feel like as management team, you just got to work with what you got.
All right. So another big trade that happened during this offseason was the Celtics getting Kemba Walker. Now, as my friend Urban said earlier, I would have never thought he was leaving. I thought freaking Jordan was going to cash that man out for everything that he had. Yeah. And it's crazy that they were able to, once again, somehow still be able to be in it for the playoff race. I don't know how the Celtics do it every year, but they always somehow get into the playoffs.
Same way the Lakers get all these trades because of the name brand, I guess.
It's crazy. They get there and they just you just can never take them off. It's like a goddamn piece of gum stuck to your shoe. But Celtics did a really good job with that one. They also got a 2020 second round pick via the Knicks or Nets. Now, if it's the Knicks one, they're probably going to get a number one draft pick because of the fact that the Knicks suck. Mm-hmm. But I think they did really well. The Celtics always trying to get those picks every single time. And then Charlotte, they got Terry Rozier, which I think Terry was just kind of getting tired of being seen as the second seed.
But damn, did you hear about the deal he signed with how much he signed with the Charlotte Hornets?
No, how much?
$58 million. And that's what Kemba Walker has made his whole career with the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
That's fucked up, dude.
Hey, man. Well, that's how they see it. Sometimes you got to...
It was I think a 3-year contract with them? for 58 million.
It's tough, you know. Like Jordan is one of those people, those
Incomparable.
GMs is just like he doesn't want to pay his players. He wants to keep money in his pocket. So honestly, it's hard to even judge what he wants to do with that franchise because I feel sorry for the city of Charlotte. Honestly, they deserve better. For Boston, I would give it an A. You got an all-star player to put around the young kids.
Yeah,
That's
honestly
really good.
A plus, because why you're gonna keep a player that was complaining about not even wanting to be there. So hey, like for them to get someone that's plays almost the same style, that's like more of like a playmaker
And a
but
team
less of a
player.
dribbler and of a team player. Like he actually wants you to. He gets happy for you to score and shit like that instead of like looking to get his own bucket more than always. So I think it's a plus for them.
And for Charlotte, I mean, I would put that as a C. Terry Rozier, I'm not nothing against him. I think he's a great player. I just think
To fill that role.
from going from Kemba to Terry, unless Terry comes out and balls out, it's kind of hard to see. All right. So now let's go to the Wizards trading Dwight Howard to the Grizzlies once again. And there's been rumors that Dwight Howard apparently wants to go to the Clippers.
Which
That I don't know where Dwight Howard fits anymore, to be honest. I remember he used to be one of my favorite players when he was running around in Orlando. And man, did that just disappear. Holy Jesus. His skill level went down. I mean, I know he has those back problems. I mean, you can't get him on that, you know? He tried for that season he was on the Lakers with his back, but I don't know if he ever really tried again to get healthy. I don't know if he just doesn't listen to the right doctors or people, but
or works out.
Man, he has lost a lot of his talent, and I just wish that I knew where it went.
Stop hanging out with Melo. Just kidding.
Jesus.
Just kidding, guys. I love Melo Anthony. He's the great mid-range guy. All right, guys.
Now, this one I thought was very interesting. Damari Carroll goes to San Antonio. Now, I thought that was interesting because Damari Carroll did a lot of good work. I think he was on
the Nets.
Yeah, he was on the Nets. He was doing I remember seeing him the few games when he was playing the Clippers as well as he was playing the Lakers. He was doing really good. He was a very outstanding.
I think he was their big coming off the bench, either the 4 or the 5.
I think that San Antonio Spurs, I mean, like always, they'll always get solid, good players where they keep them in the fight. Exactly.
Solid. For them to give a Bertans though, I think Bertans was like a 3 shooter.
Yeah.
He was like a big a 4 stretch.
But that means they must have seen something, because I never doubt the Spurs no matter what they go through. Until they show me a season where they're doing terrible, I won't doubt the Spurs. So they must have seen something like, oh, maybe he doesn't do enough for us, or maybe he's just not defensively there. And so they decide to come get Damari. But, Popovich still there in San Antonio. They still have LA out there. They still have Rudy Gay. They're going to be fine. I think that San Antonio Spurs this upcoming season is going to be a crazy, crazy thing.
And they're mainly like veteran players, so they know how to play during the season. They have the playoff experience.
Now, this was crazy. This came in a 4-team trade and sign. So, Jimmy Butler going to the Miami Heat. That is crazy. Miles Leonard from the Trailblazers going to the Miami Heat as well. And then Clippers giving cash consideration, just because. Philadelphia getting Josh Richardson from the Heat. Portland getting Hassan Whiteside. And draft rights for Mathis Lortz via the 76ers. And then also the Clippers getting Maurice Harkless and a protected 2023 first-round pick. Now, that's a lot of stuff that just happened in that pick. Holy shiz. Josh Richardson going to 76ers is going to help him with the defense amazingly. Miami Heat getting Jimmy Butler keeps them in the contention of fucking going to the playoffs. Jimmy Butler was a killer closer. I
Not the
think
best closer, but still like a good closer.
no, I think he did amazing for the 76ers. If without that Kawhi shot at the end, they would have gone to a game 7. He already made that shot beforehand to make Kawhi have to shoot that shot.
Mm-hmm.
So like without that Kawhi shot, they would have had to gone to game 7, and who knows what would have happened there.
You're
I,
right.
I think the Clippers getting Maurice Harkless is good because of the fact that of his defense. I think we talked about that earlier. He's going to be great coming off the bench. I just hope that he improves his offense. Hassan Whiteside going to the Portland Trailblazers, crazy. He's going to help them improve so much more down low instead of having Miles Leonard or having.
But they're saying that it's kind of to having. Oh no, because Nurkic, will he be coming off the bench, or were they having two bigs in this, as starting lineup?
We do not know that. We don't know what Nurkic's situation is. He did get hurt, so we don't know what his situation is as of right now. So maybe they're doing it just to cover, or maybe they're doing it because they know they might need to give him up. Either way, I think that was a very smart move by Portland. Miami, I'd give them a B plus. No, A minus, just because of the fact that Jimmy Butler, one of the greatest.
And still to add Myers Leonard to the.
Yeah, make sure you actually got two people you needed. Portland, I'd give them as well A, because of the fact that amazing that you got Hassan Whiteside, added another All-Star into the mix with Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, and
it could be another type of offense formation. Like help them with their style when they get trucked. Because 2 guard, you can only do so much.
No, yeah, definitely. And then Clippers, I would give them for this specific one, I would give them a B. You got a good role player. You didn't get anything extending. Plus, you lost some money, which could have helped. But you got somebody that can help you right now, so not too bad.
And someone, I guess, that looks hungry and eager to play. At least we hope so.
And for the 76ers, I'd give them a B as well. Josh Richardson isn't that bad of a player, but he's also not going to change your team in any sense. But they needed some more role players coming off the bench since they lost Jimmy, and Josh Richardson was a good one. All right. And let's see this Jazz trade. This one I thought was absolutely amazing. Mike Conley going to Utah. This team is the team to watch. This is my sneaky team, my dark horse, my you might not expect it, but they're coming for you team. You kidding me? Mike Conley is one of the most underrated point guards ever in the NBA.
You just love Mike Conley, don't you?
Nah, I just think he needs to get more credit than his credit has been due. He's been doing an amazing job for that Memphis team ever since he's been there.
He got that teammate of the award year or something like that.
He was there. He was helping that grit and grind team. He was helping the team that was there now trying to make it. He is one of the best point guards ever. And now you put him alongside with Donovan Mitchell, a great shooting guard, and you have a defensive player of the year in fucking slipping my mind. What's his name? The center from Utah?
Rudy? Stifle Tower?
What's his last name?
Gobert.
Yeah, there you go. Rudy Gobert. I think man, I just think that this team is going to be a very
Mitchell added into the mix. Yeah.
I just think this team is going to be crazy. I don't know how you're going to stop them defensively.
Although they did give up Jay Crowder, which is like a pretty efficient catch and shoot guy, but still replaceable, I feel like.
No, yeah, Jay Crowder is a good catch and shoot guy, but I mean they did also get rid of Kyle Korver, Grayson Allen.
True.
So that's a lot of shooting you got rid of, but there's still a long time before the NBA season starts again, so maybe they'll recover with some people. But you need to get Mike Conley. He couldn't keep the ball in Spider Mitchell's hands as much as he had. He's a shooting guard.
Yeah, for Ricky Rubio.
Yeah,
he didn't fulfill.
Ricky Rubio was not going to get you into a place where you can make it to the playoffs and win a championship. He just was too unreliable, and I understand every single time that they were giving him some slack for that.
What do you think about that the trade then? What would you grade it?
I would grade that one. I'll give Utah an A. You got one of the top point guards out there.
upgrade.
Definitely an upgrade because of the fact now he can go against other top point guards out there in the league, and he has good defense.
I would give it a B plus only because they gave up a few assists for that though. Like
I agree.
A little less shooting, but still adding another All-Star is good.
And now we're gonna run down through some. Suns got
some. Wait. They're called some. What is it called? Give them special moments.
Oh, shout outs for certain teams.
Yeah.
So you got
honorable mentions.
Suns get Dario Saric, and as well they got a 11th overall pick. Minnesota with that trade got a 6th overall pick. Hawks got Allen Crabbe, and a conditional 2020 first round pick, which I think is a very good one. Brooklyn gets a 2020 second round pick and
Taurean Prince.
The Hawks. Yep, I don't think that's a bad one right there. And I think, as well as our next big one, which would be Russell Westbrook going to the Houston Rockets.
Yep. Big. Reunited and it feels so good. Back with James Harden like in the old days, huh? But this time, except he's no longer coming off as the sixth man. He's going to be rolling alongside with Russell Westbrook. Just seeing how that goes together is going to be pretty interesting for the future to come. Just, I don't know. Hopefully they can help make it work this time. They do have a pretty deep roster. They didn't make a lot of trades. They didn't give up a lot. They still have PJ Tucker in there, which is a pretty important player. I feel like nowadays people like him who are like your Draymond Greens, your Pat Bevs, who can affect the game, and for them to add Russell Westbrook, which can be, a pretty aggressive defender and still someone to stop because he's so athletic, So definitely I feel like it is an upgrade from Chris Paul. Unfortunately, Chris Paul didn't really fulfill his role as coming into the Rockets, and it sucks because he had signed a big ass contract with them. I think it was 5 years.
5 years.
And after the first year, second year, after the second year, they just couldn't.
Well, you could see it on the court. In Game 6, he was doing amazing, but every other game, he was getting he was getting beaten by his man. His legs were just not there for him. He was one of the best point guards ever. I can honestly say that he was one of my favorite players to ever watch play when he was younger, but time caught up to him.
Yeah, so many injuries, suffering going into the playoffs as well.
His shooting is still good, but him running around trying to get past people, bully people is very hard from what he used to be able to do. So for Chris Paul to be where he's at, it's gonna be tough. It sucks to see him in this kind of way, but at least he didn't get pushed out the league, kind of like Carmelo did.
Would you have preferred him to sign with the Heat more than with the Rockets?
I still think that the Heat might try to get him. I think that they should try to get him because with the Chris Paul and Jimmy Butler together, I think they could do some good stuff together. Yeah, there might be a lot more arguments on the court, but hey, It's gonna be an entertaining ass season for the Miami Heat if they get him. So for the Russell Westbrook trade, Rockets traded Russell Westbrook to the Houston Rockets. Chris Paul goes to the OKC, and as well, OKC gets a 2024 first round pick, a protected 1 through 4, a 2026 first round pick as well, protected 1 through 4, a 2025 swap 1 through 20 protected, and a 2021 swap protected for 1 through 4. OKC can swap the Clippers pick or the Heat pick. So depending on how good or how bad they do, it's about to be a crazy season for the OKC when they draft. And I think they do good in the draft. Sam Presti, he always draft. Think about it. He drafted after Ray Allen left. He drafted Kevin Durant, then drafted Russell Westbrook, then got Serge Ibaka, and then got James Harden. That's a pretty good draft lineup, if I gotta say so myself. But it does kind of show how bad that the organization is that the fact that you had 3 of these guys and you had technically you had 4 of them at their prime, and in that 10 years you couldn't get to the champion. You got to the championship one time and you couldn't get a ring. It's kind of bad.
All respect to Serge Ibaka, but of all the players there, the least talented, I would say. Serge Ibaka got the first one.
Yeah, he got a ring out of all those other guys, but the main, like, not even just that. The fact is, like, your team had
Kevin Durant. Sorry.
no. Like, your team had all this potential and you couldn't get it past anybody. Like, yes, you got to put it on Kevin Durant and the rest of the team for not being able to go get there, but you also got to put on the GM for not putting enough good players around them. You had a chance. You could, and then you got to put it on the owner as well for not wanting to go over the luxury tax, because that's a big thing that the owner in OKC does not want to do, and I think that's just gonna hurt them. You got to take a risk if you're gonna be an NBA owner,
Especially when you have players like that in your roster.
especially if you have people you're going against like Steve Ballmer, who's the richest owner in all of sports. Like, you got to put some money into it, especially if you're a small market like OKC. I mean, I feel sorry for those fans. Like, what are you guys going to have to work with? What are you guys going to have to see? It's going to be a tough season, but I hope nothing but the best for OKC. I really liked them when they first were announced as a team from Seattle Supersonics, even though I have a soft spot for Seattle in my heart. But I thought OKC was a really cool team. I love the fact that they had those 3 there for a while. People in the future, like they've said in memes all over the place, they're going to think that that's a Photoshop picture, whether you have Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant on the same picture. That's going to be really crazy to see a couple generations from now.
Yep.
And I would say, as of right now, that is all that our picks that we can look up in our trades and stuff like that. I think that this NBA season went really well. I think that it's going to be a crazy NBA season. I think that no matter what happens, it's going to be very interesting all the way until the end. I don't think any one team has it clear cut and dry above the rest. I think that something is kind of new to every team, I feel. And I feel like even one thing goes wrong, that one team won't be able to make it. And I feel like that's the same way for all the teams. It's parity across the league. I love it. It reminds me of when I was growing up trying to see the parity in the league, and I'm excited. I can't wait till NBA 2K19 comes out. 20 comes out. Dang.
But if you guys are too broke to buy the game, they have the kind of created roster for you already. So check it out. You can play it out. You can play it in 2K19.
But I think that's going to be all for us today. So thank you for coming into the Splash. Please subscribe. Make sure that you guys hit the notification down below to make sure that you guys get all of our updated videos.
And smash that like button, please. Even if you break your computer, I would appreciate you.
Yes. So thank you very much. And this has been the Splash. And I am Shaun.
And this is Erbent. Thank you for joining the Splash, man.
And we're logging off.